Wexaukee Amateur Radio Club, July 3rd, 2025, Club Meeting.
Please.
Hello.
Beautiful. Meeting's called to order. Welcome.
Order.
Full of surprises tonight.
Okay.
So we'll start with the reading of the minutes.
The minutes of the June meeting, apparently I don't know what month it is, but Dan very kindly pointed it out. Since the May meeting were read and passed, the financial report from May was read and passed. We had a bunch of new members that signed up at the swap, which was awesome, and then there was an article about repeaters with little to no activity, and we do a very good job of making sure ours is not like that, so keep up the good work. The President's Challenge results. Mike did an awesome job on alternate power. Gordy reported on his trip to Dayton and also said that he was waiting to hear back from the tower people on liability on having the group go up there. He'll let us know. Tom reported that the 440 was not working. Gordy was going to check, and Steve noted that a friend had a neighbor of the friend put an EV charger in that caused considerable noise, so be aware that that might be a thing. Picnic will be at the Veterans Park. We did the prep for field day, and we had our swap report. Meeting was adjourned after an alternate power presentation at 7:29 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have a motion to accept? That would be Tim. No.
Jeff.
Jeff.
You're the guy.
Second.
I'll support.
Bob. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor of accepting the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Good job. Thank you, Brandy. Now we'll look at, see how much money we've got. You ready there, Mr. Treasurer? While I try to turn things right side up.
$523.
Look at this.
I do have a question, Rich. I haven't received a bill for the porta potty.
They have the invoice and they know where to send it. We get in the post office box.
Yeah, that's all right.
Maybe they'll forget.
Yeah. No, I just want.
Haven't seen enough in it for the last 3 times, so they haven't raised the rates. They're still paying the same.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good.
Well, I checked the box the other day and it wasn't in.
That's right.
Usually they invoice before they deliver.
They'll get us an invoice.
They know, Rich. They know where you
You know
live.
where we are.
Yeah, they've got my phone number.
Well, after the ham fest.
Not much activity.
There's not much activity. We had 3 items of income. No, 2 items of income. Mike bought coax, we had the 50/50, and Bob, we paid the phone bill. So we ended up with $3,418.19 in the checking account. And then we gotta go to the next page.
Lee, could you speak up for us that are hard of hearing over here?
What?
Yeah.
Well, it was upside down, now it's right side up. There you go.
Okay. Is that loud enough?
Yes, better.
All right. Well, we got January, February, March, April, May, and June. And there's our expenses and income, and that matches the page. You know, like June should match the page that we just did. See the $23.71. That was
$23.71.
Okay, or the telephone bill. So anyway, our net income is $523.65 for the year. That's where we're at.
Is that profit from the swap?
Well, we were in the hole until the swap. See,
So how much do we have in the checking account right now?
we have
$3,418.19.
53? Okay, so
I don't
we're,
think it's not on this page, it's on the other page. It's,
$3,418.19.
that's right.
That's on this sheet, right?
Yeah, it's on this one. So, you know, we've got money, we just, you know, you gotta be careful because what we do.
we're not making a lot.
Yeah. So we used to make a lot more than we're making now. At least $1,000 more on that per swap.
Wow.
So, but we're okay, you know. Any questions?
Got a motion to accept from Keith, second from Ken. Any discussion, questions? All in favor of accepting the financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Even
Oh, you even approved it. Well, of course you did. I'd be a little nervous if you didn't.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
All right. What do we got here? President's report.
Airplanes.
No, that's not it.
That's what I got.
Field day. Great success. Mother Nature was kind. Good turnout. Total of 409 QSOs, which is ahead of last year. That's preliminary. I've not gone through and figured out the points. But I think we'll be ahead of last year. Not that it's a contest. It's just their fun. FD8 had 12. But in fairness, you weren't there that long. So
Well, and I had plans, I was gonna hit 100.
Well, you're only off, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was only off by 88.
There you go. Sideband 69, CW 312. Good food, good fun. It was a success, and again, thanks to Rich. He does a lot of work to prepare for us and to get rid of us too. So thank you very much. Club picnic, August 10, 1 o'clock at Veterans Park. How many have been to Veterans Park? Okay, we got a really nice new pavilion. And Bill,
Do they have power there by chance? To plug in like crock pots and
I'm
whatnot,
pretty
or-
sure they do.
They do?
Yeah. I haven't been out there since they completely finished they have restrooms and so forth. Is it Dennis, who's the chief, the former dentist?
Oh, yeah, Roger Van Deen.
Yeah, I can't find his phone number. Do you have it? See me, if you do, see me at the break.
Okay.
I need to give him a call just to make sure they're ready for us.
Let's see, Bill Shire would have it.
Well, Bill just is right over there.
Oh, there he is. You're hiding over there, Bill. I forgot, you're a Presbyterian.
Right.
Presbyterians don't show up
Oh, you
15
got it.
minutes early.
All right, Bill, we've already got, what is it?
231-468-9611.
Thank you,
Okay.
Keith.
You know, he's also a musician, pretty highly skilled musician. Writes his own music. He's got a website for his music. You can go down, you can download, you can go and see some videos. I didn't know that until I did a little exploring today. Wings and Wheels, coming up Friday, August 23 is the setup.
No battery.
I put-
August 23 is the date of the
Oh, so I'm off by one day both ways. Don't pay attention. August 24 is, or
August
22 is the
Setup.
setup.
23 is the event.
Okay. And the breakfast is at 8,
Yes.
but the show starts at 10?
Well, technically, when the breakfast starts,
Time do you say the
people are there, so they're going.
Oh, it's up there, I'm sorry.
I say that the thing
4
starts
o'clock.
at
Last year was 2.
Starts at 8. We need some volunteers to man a couple of stations. We really need more people to be there to answer questions. We get a lot of kids and even adults that want to know about amateur radio. So even if you can stop by for an hour or so. And it's a lot of fun. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, but are you gonna promote like the kids' activity you're putting together, or anything that you might wanna do to draw in adults, like have an ongoing class to give people to technicians?
I hadn't thought of that, but it's a good idea. Put you in charge of that.
Keith, are we making sure that it's going to be from 10 to 3, we don't
Well,
start tearing
one-
down until at?
I'm leaving it at 3 because people start tearing down at 2. And if I move it to 2, they'll start tearing down at 1.
Okay.
So,
We'll do our best to stay until, because there were some people that showed up about 2:30, and we were packing things up. And that doesn't look good
And
for
what
us or for you.
I'm trying to figure out how to do this, I was gonna try to make a show of it, of all the static display airplanes. We'll announce that they're gonna leave at 3, and there'll be places you can just sit and watch to help keep people there.
Until a certain.
But I'm not sure.
To something that's more of an end in time as opposed to,
Right.
Yeah, and we weren't the only ones that started
No,
tearing down.
everybody.
Everybody started tearing down, and it's just kind of bad for people that can't, maybe they can't get there till 2:30 or
Right.
so, but we'll try to stick around. Okay, the next President's Challenge, the last one. It's longest distance. All you need is one QSO. And you all know how to find distances, right? Go to QRZ, type in the call that you just worked, and then go to detail, and it'll show you how far away you are. So longest distance, you get a prize of inestimable
Yeah.
value.
Can we use our past ones?
If no one else participates.
No!
Oh.
No!
ISS?
From now until the next meeting.
The ISS don't.
Come on, I got New
No,
Zealand.
that's close.
That's pretty close.
That's overhead.
That's only a few miles up there. Come on, man. Okay, what do we get here?
How about the South Pole?
Where'd you get it from?
All right. This special results only had 2, and I think we're going to ban the one that won this because he's got a collection of certificates. I got a total of 6. But look at what Ken did. Good grief.
I have nothing else to do.
Now, you must not. Look at this.
I need a hobby. Yeah.
Museum ships, I did a couple of those, Lewis and Clark. There's a lot of them out there. They're kind of fun because you get neat QSL cards or certificates.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot, the history ones especially. So let's see, we probably got to do this. Let's see here. Ken, would you please come up here?
Whose name do you have on it this
Well,
time?
just get up here. This is a certificate. It's getting harder and harder to contact these guys. This one especially. This is from Imomali Ramon. He's the president of Tajikistan.
Well, that's wow.
Cool. So congratulations. Give him a big hand.
Hey Ken,
Tajikistan.
do you have 20 now for Lewis and Clark?
No, I didn't get the full Lewis and Clark.
Because once you get up to 20, I think it is, you get a certificate for
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Okay, it's open mic. Oh, you know what? Before we do open mic, we need to go around the room because we do have some people that haven't been here before. Start with here and just go around, give your name, your call sign, and where you're from.
I'm Jordan, KF8 DIJ Cadillac.
And our guest, Chuck.
Chuck, K85WG, Sutton's Bay.
Wow.
Al, from Manton.
Keith Newell, N8KRN, and as of yesterday, Cadillac.
Oh.
Hey, congratulations. No more commute.
Steve, WSJS Cadillac.
Ken, WA8DES, Cadillac. Les, K8LES.
Rich, K8MFC, Cadillac.
Bob, N8BOB, Cadillac.
Larry, K88BAI, Cadillac.
Bill, AC8OTJ, Cadillac.
Jeff, N8JAP, beautiful Cadillac, Michigan.
Tate, N8DDA, Cadillac.
Bill, Cadillac.
Bill, NA,
Mike, KF8 BCR Cadillac.
Lee, KD8UVN, Cadillac.
Brandy, KC8TXS, Cadillac.
Van, W8LKV, Tustin, and I belong to Leah back here.
Yay!
Sandy.
Brandy.
And I'm Lynn W8 UPB. Thanks. You have the club activities in front of you. They haven't changed. We don't need to really go through them. Just emphasize the picnic, wings and wheels. Festival of Races this year. It looks like they're going to add a half marathon and a marathon, possibly like a kayak event. So we're probably going to need a few more volunteers. See Tom, he's the one that heads that up.
Where is he?
Tom can't be here. He's got
His kids, he's visiting his kids, or they were in
family is coming from out of town. We need to do net controls. So we usually go across that top line. July, August, September. So July 10, August 14, September 11. Anybody want it? Mike, you're on. Good, thank you. Okay. July 17, 21, and 18. Who would like to do that?
I'll take it.
Okay, Les, thank you. July 24, 28, August 28, September 25. Going once.
Give it to Tom.
That's a good idea.
That'll show him.
I'll do July 31st, unless anybody else wants it.
Well, he wouldn't mind.
Oh, he likes to run that. He does.
He'd be happy to do it.
Any old business?
I don't know if it counts or not, but I ended up with an extra spoon after field day.
It's mine.
It doesn't match my set.
You're kidding. Wow, I didn't know the dollar store was that popular. New business, all I've got is some good news. Chris, WDID, donated a A3 Cushcraft A3 3-element tri-bander. He said he would like it to be used at the pavilion when we get our station, and that saves about $800 for your budget. So if you talk to Chris, tell him thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
And I've got it in storage, I'll keep it there
That's fine.
if we need it.
I'd like to say something.
I'll
Want me to
just,
stand up?
please.
You all have heard the interference on the repeater. There's nothing I can do about it, but I would, hoping that all of you that can access the input frequency, see if you can hear it in different areas. I've checked out west, there's nothing out that way. I'm not hearing anything on the input. And it's somebody that's, I don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Just so you know, nothing I can do about it. I can't shut the repeater off because I don't have the capability. With the new system, when it gets online, Gordy's waiting for one other thing, and then that'll help. So, just so you know. And at that time, when the new repeater goes on, there will be a 100 hertz tone needed to access the repeater. And we'll just, amongst us, you know, it will be published, but hopefully the ones that's doing it won't be able to.
They won't be able to figure it out. They're wannabes, so
What are they doing?
it's annoying.
Huh?
I haven't heard, what are they doing?
You're keying down, buzzing, and just holding it down, not saying anything, just holding it down.
On the way
Just
in-
before it times out, they release it, and it resets, and they keep on doing it.
On the way in today to this meeting, he was on there.
Yeah.
It was, you know,
A royal pain in the ass.
hold the microphone down for 5 seconds, release it. Hold it down, release it. Best thing to do is ignore him.
He was whistling for a while, remember?
Yeah, he's whistling. I think that's when he was drunk. But,
Yeah. I think so too, probably.
So you can't ignore, I mean.
hey, that was it. Just so we, Keith suggested that we have a fox hunt.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea.
Roy has had experience, and he's going to do a program on how to do a fox hunt and how to build your directional antennas. That would be a good thing. So, one other thing, next club meeting, I think is August 3rd, something like that.
August 7th.
That's what I meant, August 7th. I'm not good at numbers. I'm not good at numbers. Bruce, some of you remember him, did a few programs last summer. He lives in Athens, Georgia, and comes up for the summer.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to do, those are his 4 titles. I'm going to use the title he says. You used Ethernet cable for what? You know, we've all been told you can't use that Ethernet cable, right? And he's going to give us a presentation on receive-only HF antennas, and it'll be good. He would have been here tonight. You'll be glad to know he's helping with fireworks, I think down in Tustin or someplace, and he's igniting them electronically on 432 megahertz.
Huh.
He's putting his radio knowledge to use to blow things up, which I think is just cool. All right, we're going to take a break. Make sure you get your tickets, and then we'll come back. Bill, W8FFG, was going to do a program tonight on digital. He called and he couldn't make it. And so what we're gonna see is a really interesting video on Heathkit. And we've got some show and tell from somebody who used to work at Heathkit. I don't know who that might be. And we've got some other surprises. So let's just take 5 minutes because we might need a little more time for the program. It'll be worth it. So take a break.
You?
It's good. It's too long.
Okay, to introduce this program, I asked Lee to come up and share his Heathkit story. Lee, come on up here.
Well, my Heathkit is an imposter. Ray let me know what I thought was a Heathkit is not. It is a night space spanner made by Allied Radio. But here's the story. It is a kit. When
I had a night kit Star Roamer. I built that all by myself.
I did too. I built this one. When I was in 9th grade shop class, you could do different electronic projects, and three of us got together and we bought these and put them together in one of the students' basement. And it's AM, it's 3.2, it's AM, it's AM and shortwave. And of course, you know, in the 60s, I mean, I'd lay there in bed and I'd listen to WLS from Reed City to Chicago. That was pretty cool. But what was really cool, my mom must have gotten a big charge out of this because I go running to her, Mom, I just picked up Moscow. Mom, I just picked up Quito, Ecuador. Mom, I just picked up Puerto Rico or, you know, Portugal. And she, you know, and she just kind of smiled, you know. I think she got as big a kick out of hearing me as I did. But anyway, if it wasn't for this, I probably wouldn't be here because this is what ignited the fire to get interested in radio.
That's cool.
That's cool. Thank you. And before we show the video, we
I want to tell you though that I laid in bed and listened to WLS on my transistor radio when I was in Great Lakes in the Navy.
Yep. Oh, cool.
Got an announcement from Tim that's pretty exciting.
What about Mars? Our previous group commander moved up to wing, and his spot was open, so Gordy was promoted to group commander, so he's in charge of Michigan.
Wow.
Wow. Michigan Mars.
Wow. Wish he was here.
Or were you just waving? Cool. Okay. All right, here we go. This is a video about how Heathkit got started. And I didn't know any of this. Maybe
But Bob isn't the only YouTuber.
Yeah, this actually was discovered by Lee.
Soldering irons are heating up across America, and the smoky smell of burning solder fills the room. Next, the thrill of opening a box filled with shiny and carefully sorted parts. For decades, these sensations meant one thing to electronics enthusiasts. A new Heathkit had arrived. But here's what most people don't know. One of America's most successful electronics companies started completely by accident from a surplus of war parts and boxcars full of unwanted military equipment. And it almost never existed at all. In fact, the company that taught an entire generation of engineers and ham radio operators how to build everything from oscilloscopes to color televisions began as an airplane kit business. But a desperate scramble to deal with unexpected railroad deliveries changed the course of electronics history forever. I've always been fascinated by companies that shape our technological world, but Heathkit's origin story is one of my favorites because it's so improbable. The tale begins not with circuits and resistors, but instead with wings and propellers. In 1926, a daring aviator named Edward Bayard Heath started the Heath Airplane Company in Chicago. His specialty? Affordable aircraft kits that everyday people could build themselves. His most popular model was called the Heath Parasol, a simple single-seat plane with the wing mounted above the fuselage like, well, a parasol. I wish I could have seen these early kit planes taking flight. There's something romantic about that era of aviation, when brave souls built aircraft in their barns and garages. But the romance ended tragically in 1931. Edward Heath took off in a prototype plane he was testing. The aircraft crashed, killing Heath instantly. The company struggled after Heath's death, eventually sliding into bankruptcy during the Great Depression. This might have been the end of our story, just another failed business in a difficult economic time. But in 1935, a businessman named Howard Anthony purchased the struggling Heath Company. Anthony moved the company to Benton Harbor, Michigan, and continued making airplane kits and parts. I wonder what Anthony saw in this failing airplane company. A business opportunity or a vision of something bigger? Either way, he couldn't possibly have imagined what was coming. When World War II erupted, the U.S. government was desperate for companies with aviation experience. The Heath Company answered the call and pivoted to making various aircraft components, including electronic equipment for military planes. This seemingly minor detail would change everything. As the war ended in 1945, America faced a new challenge. What to do with mountains of surplus military equipment? The government began auctioning off massive quantities of electronic parts no longer needed for the war effort. And here's where the story takes its fateful turn. Howard Anthony placed what he thought was a modest bid on some surplus electronics. But what he got instead was a logistical nightmare that accidentally launched an electronics empire. I can just picture the scene when the station master in Benton Harbor called Anthony with unexpected news.
Hello, Mr. Anthony. This is Mr. Williams at the Benton Harbor station. I am calling to inform you that 4 or 5 railroad cars filled with electronic parts just arrived. We can keep these for a week, but after that, we will have to charge you a storage fee on each boxcar. Please contact me as soon as possible.
Anthony hadn't remembered placing the bid, and now he had to scramble. He called friends, acquaintances, and anyone with storage space, barns, warehouses, anywhere to stash these mountains of electronic components before the railroad started charging him daily fees for the boxcars. As Anthony and his team sorted through this electronic windfall, they discovered something interesting. They had acquired a large quantity of 5 BP1 cathode ray tubes. These were 5-inch display tubes used in radar equipment during the war. And Anthony, ever the entrepreneur, started thinking about what he could do with them. In November 1947, the Heath Company introduced something brand new, the O1 oscilloscope kit, selling for just $39.50. This wasn't an airplane part, but what it was the company's first electronic kit, built around those surplus 5 BP1 tubes. Isn't it remarkable how companies sometimes stumble into their greatest innovations? The oscilloscope wasn't part of some grand strategy. It was simply making the best use of what they accidentally had on hand. But it struck a chord with customers immediately. The timing couldn't have been better. Thousands of GIs had received electronics training during the war and were now home, many using the GI Bill to study engineering. There was a huge market of technically minded people who wanted affordable test equipment. Commercial oscilloscopes at the time cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars, far beyond the reach of hobbyists and students. At $39.50, the Heathkit version was revolutionary. Yes, you had to build it yourself, but that was part of the appeal. You not only got an oscilloscope, you learned how it worked by assembling it. The oscilloscope was quickly followed by other test equipment, a vacuum tube voltmeter, signal generators, and more. By the early 1950s, Heath was selling millions of dollars worth of electronic kits annually. The airplane company had transformed into something entirely different. In my opinion, what really set Heathkit apart was their instruction manuals. I built my first Heathkit as a teenager and was amazed by how clear and detailed the instructions were. They assumed you knew nothing about electronics and walked you through every step with illustrations, explanations, and troubleshooting tips. The famous fold-out pictorials showed exactly where each part went. They even included information about why certain components were used, turning each kit into an electronics course. You could learn more from building Heathkits than from some college courses. In the early 1950s, Heath entered the amateur radio market with the AT1 transmitter kit. This was a natural extension. Ham radio operators were technically skilled and often built their own equipment. The marriage between Heathkit and ham radio would become one of the most successful partnerships in electronics history. I still remember the excitement of opening my first Heathkit box. The parts were neatly organized in bags, resistors sorted by value, and capacitors were carefully labeled. There was something magical about transforming a box of parts into a working piece of electronic equipment. And when you finished, you had the pride of saying, "I built it myself." The 1960s and 1970s marked the golden age of Heathkit. The company expanded into color television kits, sophisticated ham radio transceivers, high-fidelity audio equipment, and even electronic organs. If you could plug it in, chances are Heathkit made a kit version of it. The SB series ham radio equipment became legendary among amateur operators. Many of my friends saved for months to buy an SB 101 transceiver kit. It took weeks to build, with over 100 hours of careful soldering and assembly. But when a ham operator made their first contact using gear, they built themselves. The feeling was indescribable. The Heathkit catalog became a wish book for electronics enthusiasts. I would spend hours poring over each new edition, dreaming about which kit I would build next. The company offered everything from simple radio receivers that could be assembled in an evening to complex color TVs that might take weeks to complete. What I find most remarkable about Heathkit was their commitment to education. They weren't just selling kits, they were teaching electronics. In the 1970s, they even created formal educational courses and training systems used in schools and colleges across America. Getting a piece of equipment at a lower price was appealing. Still, building a Heathkit was about a lot more than that. It was about the journey, the learning, and the pride of creation. When someone asked about your stereo or ham radio, you could proudly say, "I built it myself." In our increasingly pre-packaged world, that meant something special. Today I am going to try something a little different, and I am going to give you a short break before I finish the Heathkit story. I am going to introduce you to my pal from Nerd Gizmos, Nicola Ziggy Vector.
I'll let you see him, but we're going to move
Nicola
past
has
this.
put together for you a simple 5-question quiz about Heathkit. Okay, Ziggy, take it away.
We'll take the quiz a little later.
Greetings, fellow frequency fanatics. Nicola Vector here, time-travelling ham radio renegade.
70s, Heathkit and
The Ziggy signing off from somewhere between 1973 and a breakfast diner on Mars.
In the late 1970s, Heathkit entered the personal computer market with models like the HA and H11. I remember being fascinated by these early computers, but they marked a turning point for the company. Electronics was changing rapidly, becoming more complex and integrated. In 1979, Zenith Electronics acquired the Heath Company. At first, this seemed like a positive development. Zenith had resources that could help Heath grow. But it also began a shift in focus away from the traditional kit business. But remember, the electronics industry was changing too. Traditional through-hole components easy to solder by hand were losing ground to surface mount technology. These tiny components were perfect for automated manufacturing, but nearly impossible for hobbyists to work with. Consumer preferences were shifting as well. In the 1950s and 60s, building your own equipment often meant significant savings. By the 1980s, mass production made pre-built electronics more affordable, while kits, on the other hand, became relatively more expensive as they contained more complex parts. The computer division of Heathkit was renamed Zenith Data Systems and began focusing on fully assembled computers. The traditional kit business was becoming a smaller and smaller part of the company's operations. I watched with sadness, as many of you did, while the kit business declined throughout the 1980s. The company that taught me so much about electronics was struggling to find a place in a changing world. By the late 1980s, Zenith was facing financial difficulties in its television and computer businesses. In 1992, after 45 years of helping people build their own electronics, Heathkit discontinued its electronic kit business. On hearing the news, I felt like I lost an old friend. The company that had introduced countless people to the joy of electronics had reached the end of its remarkable journey. But the Heathkit story doesn't end there. Today, vintage Heathkits are prized by collectors and still used by enthusiasts. I have owned several Heathkits, and they continue to work perfectly after decades of service, a testament to their quality and the care with which they were built. The spirit of Heathkit lives on in today's maker movement. When I see young people building projects with Arduino boards or Raspberry Pi computers, I recognize that same excitement I felt opening my first Heathkit box. Sure, the technology has changed, but the joy of creating something electronic with your own hands remains the same. There have been several attempts to revive the Heathkit brand over the years, with varying degrees of success. The name still carries tremendous weight among electronics enthusiasts who remember the company's golden age. Heathkit's educational legacy continues to influence how we teach technical subjects today. From airplane kits to oscilloscopes to computers, the Heath Company's journey reflects America's technological evolution through the 20th century. What began with surplus war parts in desperate need of storage space became a company that helped build the technical foundation for our modern electronic world. All right, if you made it this far, I have to warn you about subscribing to this channel. Do not subscribe. Seriously, if you subscribe, you might find yourself scouring eBay at 2 a.m. bidding on vintage Heathkit equipment that just needs a little work.
He's a comedian.
Next thing you know, you'll have a basement full of old oscilloscopes, a soldering iron permanently attached to your hand, and family members who roll their eyes whenever you start a sentence with, "You know, Heathkit used to make a kit that..." So, if you value your free shelf space and don't want to become a full-fledged electronics restoration geek, definitely don't subscribe. But you know, if you accidentally click that button, I won't hold it against you. So put down that soldering iron and get on the radio. 73, and thanks for watching.
How many of you knew about that history before? You did? A couple? All right. I want to see if you're paying attention. Let's see who I'll pick on. Steve, you look like a good victim. What was the first kit offered by Heathkit?
I wasn't born when Heathkit was.
What? No, I want to see, you're a professor, you want your students to pay attention. Right? And you pull a quick quiz on them, you know, just to make them angry. What was the first kit offered by Heathkit?
Okay, was the oscilloscope.
Oh, you weren't paying attention. No. You stay after school.
It was an oscilloscope. I saw it.
It was the oscilloscope.
No.
Come on, the airplane was the first kit.
Bob, what was the first kit that was offered by Heathkit?
Airplane.
You get a chance.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that was
Okay.
a good answer.
A free chance?
An airplane crash.
There you go. You got hit over the head with an oscilloscope. Now, Steve, do you ever give your students a second chance? Like if they turn something in and they blew it and they feel like they were just a complete loser and you say, I'll give you another chance. Have you ever done that?
I have.
Okay, I want to do that to you.
No.
What kit was the first amateur radio product that Heathkit made?
Oh, that would be the amateur radio. It was the.
What was it? What was it? It wasn't a receiver. It was a
Tester. No, wait, we're not doing testers. Was it the 101?
Yeah, that's part of the number.
You're gonna have to retake the course. I'm sorry. What was the first amateur radio product that was offered by Heathkit? Let's see if our guest Chuck.
Transmitter?
Transmitter. There you go. The AT1 transmitter.
I knew there was a one.
I had the one.
Don't you love picking on college professors? I don't know. All right, last one. Which of these was not offered as a Heathkit product? I think we should go to Ken because he wins all these certificates. We should try to, expose him. Which of these were not offered as a Heathkit product? A stereo, color television, electronic organ, or a microwave oven?
Microwave oven? That was an easy one.
That's all I got.
Then I got a story for you. I was a volunteer fireman in Cherry Grove Fire Department, and I wanted an electronic siren. And Heathkit had a siren kit, and I built their electronic siren kit because it was less expensive than what was available.
Okay, well, I'd like Ray. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with Heathkit? How long did you work there?
I can't give you exactly, but it was between 6 and 8 years.
And what did you do?
I started out as service department. Then I moved over to assembly as a tech. Then I moved back to service department. Then I went to quality control. And then I went to product development engineering. And then to scientific instrumentation.
And what was this called?
A tour.
And what was its nickname?
Well, we always called it tour.
Isn't this the Benton Harbor Lunchbox or not?
Oh, yeah.
This is the Benton Harbor Lunchbox. It's a 2-meter AM radio.
Wow.
And, it looks like a lunchbox, so they call it the Benton Harbor Lunchbox, right? All right.
People in the know used to they had a DC power supply.
Yeah.
And would parallel to get more power out of it.
What the heck is this?
Field strength meter.
Oh, I just broke it.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be a field strength meter. Sorry. I hope this is very valuable. So how would you use this?
Well, you could use it as a mobile product. You would move it to tune your antennas.
Okay. Did you build this?
Yes.
How long did it take?
Not very long.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And we're gonna do the drawing here in a second, but also if you want to stick around, Chuck's got a whole bunch of stuff over here.
Fascinating too.
And gather around, and he can kind of tell you what it's all about, and it's pretty neat.
I've got a couple of Heathkit trivia things.
Let's hear it.
They produced the first rail-controlled nitro-powered car.
Really?
RC car, yeah.
Did you have one?
No, a friend of mine did.
Okay.
It was squirrely as hell. I couldn't steer it, but it'd go like a bat out of hell. It had a .23 model airplane engine in it. And
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow.
it would scream. Also, they produced radio control systems for model airplanes.
Okay.
Were they at 6 meters?
Oh, they did 6 meters and 27.
Okay.
There's a British guy that ran a company, and he's pretty well known among airplane geeks like me. But anyway, I was talking to him. He said Heathkit made the very best receiver that was ever made. The only trouble was you had to tune it every day.
How many have built a Heathkit in here? Well, that's interesting.
My first
What'd you
one
build?
Well, my first one was in 1965. It was the bottom of the line shortwave radio and a dial that spun around.
Oh, yeah.
And then I built the next one up to shortwave. Then I built a transistor radio, and then a home meter, and just kept building stuff.
Did this guy make sense to you when he talked about the thrill of being able to say, I made it?
Yeah,
It really was, wasn't it? I built a foam patch. Some of you don't even know what they are, but I run foam patches to military men in Antarctica. And it was kind of cool because they hadn't talked to their wives in a long time, and I got to listen in on all the conversations. Anybody else have a Heathkit story?
The HW-18 that you see over there was built exclusively for Civil Air Patrol and missionaries.
So one on the front.
That's one facing.
No, this here?
Nope.
Th-
That one.
The one with Mike.
Oh, okay. And what was that for?
Exclusively for Civil Air Patrol, communications nationwide, and also missionaries in foreign countries.
Okay. Does that still work?
Yes.
All right.
75 meters.
All right, look at your tickets. Tickets. Some of you got extras. Everybody get ready? Here we go.
Magic number, last 3 digits are 643.
All right, all right. Okay, we're going to adjourn here in a second, but I'd encourage you to stick around and have a little tutorial and tell us a little bit about these products if you want to gather around over here. Good to have you here with us. Good to have all of you here. Have a happy 4th of July. Enjoy the freedom that we all enjoy.
Amen, brother.
Meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Les.